Hello, all my merrymakers. I'm not dead. To everybody who keeps on coming back to this segment, thank you very much. To anybody New Year's. New Year's, yes. New here. This is All the Things Thursday, and I'm still a mess. All the Things Thursday is supposed to be my weekly video where I come on and I tell you about all the things that I've been working on. I did not do a single video last week. I almost didn't do any videos this week. Long story short, because I don't want to bore you with all the stuff that's been happening lately. Basically, my life kind of blew up. I got sick. And then I got a sty, which I've never had a sty. And so I had to be on antibiotics, and that's making that's interfering with my hormones. So it's making everything just a little bit more crazy on top of all the things I didn't mention. So I'm tired. Just been dealing with a lot. Again, nobody's dead. And the person hurt the most is me. Because right now I'm dealing with an ear infection on top of everything else. But because I didn't make a video last week, I do have quite a bit to show you. So there is some plus. Now, I was going to do a yarn giveaway out of my stash, but the yarn is all the way on the other side of the house. And as you know, I record this at night at 7:50 in the evening, which probably doesn't sound very late to y'all. But I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, usually, sometimes of not my own volition, because I have small children, and sometimes, especially my littlest, is just ready to go first thing in the morning. So, when 8 o'clock rolls around, I'm not tired. Or as me and my roommate like to say, I turn into a pumpkin real quick. Alright. There's so much to talk about. Alright, let's do finished objects first. So, as I was going through my yarn stash, there was actually some blanket yarn that I was heavily considering giving away. Because I had planned to make something out of it, but I was like, I don't like that idea anymore. But then I was looking at it again in the bag, ready to go to Smart. I was like, you know what? I really feel like I should make a chevron blanket out of that. So I did. There was actually 4 different yarns, so there's 2 different blankets. This is the first one. I really like how this one turned out because we've got 2 colors here. One is a variegated, which stays the same, and then one is a slow color changing one that's kind of blends in at some point, which is really cool looking to me. And yes, at the very end, I had to borrow from a, it's pretty obvious that that is not the same color, even though it's pretty close. I was really happy because I didn't mean to, but what I ended up with was a blanket that was perfectly 36 inches by 36 inches. I mean, you cannot ask for a better baby blanket, really. Or lapcan, whichever one. But, so I liked that one so much that with the other 2 skeins that I had, I started to make another one. Similar concept. You've got a variegated and then a color changing solid. I don't know, I feel weird calling it solid when it changes color. But it's not ombre this time. This one is striping. Now, Both of these are using an 8mm hook, by the way. So this is what I have left of the striping. And this is what I have left of the variegated. Small problem, right? Because when I looked, this color was discontinued. However, I found one online. On eBay for like, I don't remember how much, but I remember once I added shipping, it was like $12, which is what this stuff is full price on the shelf anyway. And ba-bang, I didn't keep the band, so I can't compare lot number, but what I can compare is those colors are pretty much bang on the same. Now, the progression of color is a little different, but I don't think that's going to matter. It's just my brain's like, okay, which way do I want to go with this? I think what I'm going to end up doing, because this ends up on the white, and it just came from the, I'm going to call it pink, even though it's like kind of a fuchsia, is go, there's two thoughts. One, with the purple, the light purple, or the dark purple, and take out this light purple bit and add it in later if I need it. Because if I follow the earlier progression of what happened, that's what happened earlier. Went from the kind of lilac-y purple to the fuchsia to the, it's actually pink. It looks white here, but it's pink, to the darker purple. So that's the one I'm leaning towards the most, because even though it goes from the dark purple right back to the white on this one, it's just like, okay, no matter which way I choose, it's going to be basically reverse of what I've done so far. So, because if I go from the outside, it goes back to it. We start with the fuchsia, goes back to white, goes to the dark purple. So like, I almost feel like I need to like maybe should I take the outside off first? Because then it goes in the right direction. Right direction. I don't know. I might be thinking about this way too hard. I'm sure there's some of you out there going, Becca, you are thinking about this way too hard. Because I guess what? They don't exist. The yarn police. They don't exist. You know how I know? Dang it.
Robert, here's a reminder from Rebecca.
Holy cannoli, the thing did not want to shut up. So, there's more of this yarn, but this yarn is yarn I bought to make something for my grandmother for her 90th birthday, which was last year. But she said no gifts. So I had, this is really high-end yarn. And you know what I did? I doubled it up and I just did a half double crochet beanie. And you know what? This is a beautiful beanie. And you know what? No yarn police showed up at my house to arrest me for not making something more beautiful out of this yarn. Would you like to see what else I've been making with this yarn? Of course you do. That's why you're here. So I've got this bag. I'm taking some stuff out because this bag is full of stuff I've made, but it basically boils down to two things. One is fidget flowers, which I think, or flakes, because the design I finally settled on looks more like a snowflake, especially when I make it out of my white sparkly yarn. It's so pretty. But my crochet group does Samaritan purse. So they put fidget flowers in there, and they also put washcloths in there. So I've also made a couple of washcloths. If you saw my video from the stuff I got from the yarn patch, this is made out of the cotton that I got. I've got another one, we'll get to that. But I've made a couple of washcloths out of that yarn. And then this is a washcloth out of my favorite cotton yarn, because it's rainbow. I think it's called Psychedelic or something like that. But it's Lily Sugar and Cream, and it's one of my favorite colors. And I love making washcloths out of this. But I've got one more washcloth on the needles, and I think I've got enough to finish. If not, I'll fudge it. I'll be fine. But I've got a whole nother skein of color changing cotton that I'm going to make washcloths into. I've got a whole nother ball of the sparkle white yarn so I can make some more fidget flakes. And then here are the psychedelic yarns that I found just lying around my house that I can make into more. So I'm really excited about that. I had been working on the Oolong Tea Shawl by Red Teapot Atelier. Recently I had to frog it. Like, I had already fudged it a couple of times, and then I don't know if somebody messed with what I was using as a row counter or what happened, but I couldn't figure out what row I was on, and so I undid it. But I restarted because I really feel like this this yarn is supposed to be this shawl. So again, this is the restart. So if you're like, man, that's smaller than before, yes, it is. And now I am on row 12. Yes, it's just a scrap heap of paper with little ticks on it. But that way it's a little less likely to be messed with, because my daughter messes with a lot of things she shouldn't. And sometimes I realize it and sometimes I don't. And so I try to make my counters not as available to her when they matter, because I don't want her to mess them up. Alright, one last thing to show you, I think, that I want to show you. Yeah. And that is, I am almost finally done with this third blue section, or with this third section that happens to be blue of this blanket. I have undid this section 3 or 4 times now, but I finally got it to behave. Again, actually following the tutorial and what it says is of great benefit. So I'm really excited to finally move on from this section into the next section. It's actually almost tempted to finish this section before this video, but I'm like, no, it's already late. I don't want to spend, who knows how long it's going to take me to finish. Plus, I need to, my mom wants the colors to go in a very specific way for the color changing part. She wants it to go from light blue and then end in light blue. So I have to, anyway, there's stuff I have to do to the balls of yarn that I have in order to make it do that. So I don't know if I'm going to get around to doing that tonight or not. Plans for this week. It depends on how quickly I recover from this ear infection. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's because I'm already on an oral antibiotic and it's messing with my hormones or what, but I'm definitely, it takes more out of me these days to be in pain. So I'm gonna try and do the start stitching that I promised you last week. And then of course we still got a couple more cute critters to look at in Bookmark Monday. So and then of course I'm gonna be working on this and other Christmas gifts because yeah, with us having the thing, one of the other things that had to happen is we had to fix our air conditioner. Now, thankfully it wasn't a big fix, but it was still not, we had to borrow some money. So yeah, everybody's getting a crafted present, whether they like it or not, or an IOU. That's just how it's gonna roll this year. And it's August, and I'm already going, nope, I just can't. Even with my kids, like they're gonna get one crafted present and then like one $60 or less present from me, and that's gonna be it because that's what we can afford. That's what we can afford. So, sorry to end on a downer. And no, I'm not asking for money. I know it's tight all around. It's tight all around. God, please don't send me money. I wouldn't know what to do with it other than put it towards maybe my credit card, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. There are other people out there that need the money more than I do. I am a middle class white woman that lives in a nice house. I do not, no, please don't. Love, good vibes, prayers, all appreciated. Trust me. Alright, on that note, I hope you enjoyed this video, even though I kind of rambled. If you did, make sure you give it a like, especially if you're a subscriber. That way the evil YouTube overlords don't unsubscribe you from my channel against your will. Feel free to comment down below. It does help my analytics, plus I genuinely enjoy hearing from y'all. If you're not a subscriber yet, I have a lot of yarny content, and if that's your job, make sure you hit subscribe. Plus, you would do well to hit that notification bell. If you really like my channel and like to help it grow, share this video with everyone you know. In the meantime, think what makes you merry. Ciao!